Yeah, welcome to match 3. So here is Mazzu93. According to Goldfish, it was a known Blue-Red Delver player, but here in this tournament they played Jeskai Control. Really bad hand in the beginning. I just decided to mulligan that hand, and here I just put the second cradle to the bottom. I just wanted to have more initial mana sources and wanted to play the cradle in turn 3 when I have probably a good mana boost here. So here they start with a ponder. So the replay is lagging a bit. Should take a bit longer here to see what happened in the game. So I didn't really knew that it was Jeskai already. So here I started with ramping Green Sun Zenith to take out the second Arbor out of the deck. And he played Force of Negation, pitching Dress down. So at this stage it was clear that it's not Delver, but more like a control deck because of the Force of Negation and the Dress down. So it's good to have an early 2-for-1, but they wanted to prevent me from casting any further creatures in the next turns. So probably that means that they have a 3-mana Planeswalker and they want to delay me a lot, because with the additional creature I could have had more speed and I could have played 3 creatures this turn, for example. Here I fetch for a Bayou to have the top decking Grist live, and as I saw that it's a Jeskai or controlish build, I didn't really play it around Wasteland here, and having the Cradle in the hand is also very helpful to, if they have the Wasteland, I have the Cradle in the next turns. But having only one creature on the battlefield is not the position where I want to be against Jeskai control. So here, as expected, there's an asset and they show Supreme Verdict. So here it's very tricky to play around the Supreme Verdict, but it was very good for me because I was able to top deck the Green Sun Zenith here, and then I just played the Virtual Rangers and searched for Grist out of the deck, and important to just handle the Narset because I didn't want him to draw any further cards. I sacrificed the Virtual Rangers and then I destroyed the Narset immediately. I also wanted more value if they just have the Prismatic Ending, the answer for the Grist. And also for sure with the Elvish Visionary in hand it makes sense to destroy the Narset here. So they play a couple of cantrips and probably think about Swords to Plowshares, the Elvish Visionary, but usually it's not worth it. And yeah, it makes sense to wait until I have creatures like Allosaurus Shepherd, for example. But I won't really play the Shepherd onto the board here because it's too valuable, and also know that he has Supreme Verdict. I could have been waiting here and don't play any other creatures. Another possible play could be like besieging the Tundra, but I just attacked for one and then cast another Elvish Visionary and upticked the Grist. And I was keeping the Dryad Arbor in my hand. Do not play too many creatures of it. And then next turn I would be able to recover. If they have the Supreme Verdict now, I could recover with a Glimpse of Nature turn. So very good position for me. Then he just plays another Narset. And as he brainstormed earlier, he showed the same Supreme Verdict. So here I just attack the Narset, and then I go off with a Glimpse of Nature turn. At least going off means that I have played a couple of creatures here, and yeah, I drew 5 cards this turn. And now if they have the Supreme Verdict, I could have easily recovered and rebuilt in the next turns, playing multiple creatures. And also I have Elthor Shepherd in hand, so it's lethal on board. I can just use the Shepherd next turn and then attack. No need to bounce any of the creatures here. Luckily, or unfortunately, I drew the Progenitors, but it didn't really matter this game. Very slow replay here, but I don't know why it's lagging that much. In the earlier turns it wasn't, but I hope that it's a bit better in the next games. Here I just activate the Shepherd and then he concedes. Going to game 3. So the first hand wasn't that bad, but it had Progenitors in hand and I don't want to have the card in the hand. I want it in the deck. So we lose a lot of strength of our deck if we don't have access to the card anymore. And here I just fetch. So the Once Upon a Time wasn't that good because I already had enough of lands and then I didn't draw any action here. Maybe a Reclaimer would be very good, but then I just ramped for the Dryad Arbor. And then in the next turn I played the Elvish Visionary. I played a bit around the Kozilek's return here. It cost me a bit or much of speed, but I didn't really want him to give a 3-for-1. He just played the dress down. Yeah, probably with his hand it would be okay to just play the Shepherd to force him to play the Kozilek's return. And I also had the Elvish Visionary and the Fetchland to recover. So I played a bit conservatively here and wasn't really fast and couldn't really do that much in my turns, except from drawing cards. Yeah, it's clear that I don't fetch for the Dryad Arbor here. I leave the Fetchland open. And it didn't really took that long as it looks here for this decision. So Wirewood Symbiote is a very good draw to have. I just played the Symbiote and attacked for 1. Then in the second main phase I bounced the Visionary and played it out again. So he had another dress down to prevent me from drawing cards. Yeah, it's not that good play for the opponent because the dress down will be missing later, and then he would probably not have any answers to the progenitors out of the deck. Not really sure if it's that worth to prevent me from drawing a single card here. But as he also had the dress down, I didn't want to play the Shepherd and another Visionary. I didn't. Yeah, okay, here he just plays the Timeless Dragon, and because I was too slow in the beginning, I wasn't able to find an answer for the Timeless Dragon, and he just beat me down with the Timeless Dragon. Very strange that I didn't had any good top decks. He was tapped out here. I could have easily won if I have a Cradle or a Natural Order in my hand. But here I should have played the Allosaurus Shepherd to make it encounterable, and then play the Wirewood Symbiote. It was a mistake. I should have played the Wirewood Symbiote out of the Dryad Arbor to have more access to more mana. And then I could have played another Visionary here. Not very good sequencing from my part. So here I played the Glimpse. Could have played the Allosaurus Shepherd first. Also a mistake from me. To just he didn't have any white mana at this point, and I could have drawn multiple cards this turn. Maybe if I draw a Cradle as well, I could have drawn 3 or 4 or 5 cards here. But I didn't really want to commit more creatures to the board because it was a bit obvious for me that he has access to the Kozilek's Return. But now here, finally, it gets me. And then, as I said, he had the Timeless Dragon and attacked me a couple of times with it. So here I probably lead it with a Thoughtseize to see what's in his hand. And he had Dress Down, Force of Will, and Narset. So here I took the Narset because I wanted to draw a bunch of cards next turn. But didn't really found anything here, nor another land to cast the Allosaurus Shepherd. With the Shepherd I could have maybe raised the Timeless Dragon, but not having access to GS Cradle this game probably was very relevant. And here I draw that Fetchland then. Also not that good. So here he plays the Dress Down. And I even forgot to use the Dryad Arbor. But I don't think that I have any okay, if I play if I draw a Cradle next turn, I could have maybe got him with the Allosaurus Shepherd with the activation, but yeah, losing to a Timeless Dragon is really a really bad sign, I would say. So very, very problematic draws. And here it's over. So here in this game I played a bit too slow and didn't really give him the opportunity to cast the Kozilek's Return. And if he casts one Kozilek's Return, I probably have more options in the mid game. So, and then I had some sequencing errors, so it wasn't really that common to win that game, but I drew very bad in the mid game as well and didn't really find an answer or a way to overpower the dragon. So let's go to game 3. So the first hand was a mulligan because I had too few mana sources. Here it's okay for me. I led with a Green Sun Zenith and ramped into the Dryad Arbor. Then he played Swords to Plowshares for the Dryad Arbor, and I cast the Elvish Visionary to be as mana efficient as possible. And here I probably played the Glimpse of Nature to Force of Will check him. First I attacked to get the free damage. And then, yeah, I luckily top decked even the Wirewood Symbiote. So I was able to draw at least 2 cards. Probably just should have played the Durus and keep the Glimpse for the next turn. Yeah, and he has Narset here. Should have played the Durus to let him discard the Narset. Also not that good of a sequencing. And here I have I discarded the Day's Undoing from his hand. So here I know now I have the way to cast Nature Order Uncounterable. So, and I just took the Progenitus then. And also I wanted to attack the Narset here because I knew that he has Shark Typhoon, and I didn't want him to get any more value with the Shark Typhoon, and he needs to find an answer for the Progenitus anyway. So here he plays Mentor, but Progenitus should be faster than Mentor. So he could have maybe Swords to Plowshares his own creature to get more time, but he already played 2 Swords to Plowshares already, And now he's dealing with his brainstorms, casting multiple spells each turn, and creates a big army with Mentor and Human and Monks tokens. Third brainstorm this turn. Usually a bad sign. If he had a ponder, he could have shuffled his deck at least. And then he's casting Kozilek's Return, but he is only able to attack for 11. And I have 21 life, so Progenitus beats Mentor here. And he concedes.